how you feeling, how you living, what's good? It's your girl Francie, and today is Friday, which means it's another rendition of Girl, I'm finna take your black card. A segment in which I watch TV, movies, or listen to music that I have not listened to or seen in black culture as a black woman who is 29 years old, so I really have no reason. Like at all, really. Today we are watching a movie that has been requested not once, but twice, okay? So I was like, you know what? This has been a long week. It's been a hard week. So I'm gonna watch a movie that I guess y'all really like. Y'all really wanna see, because I wanna give y'all what y'all want. All right? So, today we are watching a movie called Clockers. Now, to be quite honest, I've never heard of this movie before. I just had never heard of it. So this was new to me. When I looked up the movie, I was like, is this a black movie? Because I saw a lot of white people in it. But apparently, it's a Spike Lee joint. And I didn't even know. So, it's news to me. And it is starring a lot of big names. It has Mekhi Phifer in it, who has been in at least 3 other movies I've reviewed at this point. So that man was in everything in the 90s, apparently. It has Keith David, who is pretty much, I know him from Community and Tales from the Hood 2. That's about it. But he's a pretty prominent actor as well. And it has the guy from Reservoir Dogs in it. And I kept trying to remember where I knew him from. And I was like, oh, yeah, he was Mr. White. He was. And, you know, a lot of great other great names in this movie. But like I said, it's a Spike Lee joint. So, you know, it's definitely black. So let's get into it. Let's get into my review. Let's get into my reaction to the movie Clockers. Okay, so first of all, I had to look up because I was curious, because they kept saying you clock in or you're a clocker, and I was like, what the hell is that? Like, what is a clocker? Apparently, it is a slang term for a drug dealer, especially if you sell coke, crack, cocaine, you know, things like that on the streets. And so, I had never heard that word before. Maybe it was in New York back in the day. Of course, you know.
I'm an innocent little kid, so I didn't know anything about drugs.
So I've never heard this term before, but the movie starts off in a very gruesome way. Be quite honest. Literally I woke up this morning and I was like, let me get these videos out. Let me do what I gotta do to make these videos. I'm actually going out of town this weekend, so I was like, let me get everything together now. And I was like fresh out of bed, and all I saw was pictures of people dead in the streets, and I was like, okay, good morning. Good morning. That was definitely a very gruesome sight. And so this movie is based around our main character, Mekhi Phifer. I'm gonna be quite honest with you again. I'm bad at people's names in movies, so I'm just gonna be calling him Mekhi Phifer. I'm so sorry. If you've watched many other reviews I have done, that's exactly what I do. I'm so sorry. I'll put his name here, but to me, his name is Mekhi Phifer. I think they call him Slick or something like that. Strike. His name was Strike, but that's not his real name either. I forgot. Okay. So we start off. We see everybody we see these guys in the park, or like the square area. We realize it's like, I think, the projects, and they all sit in a little square, community square area, and they sitting there talking on some toxic masculinity ish, like, you know, you need to be getting bitches and rah rah rah. And I'm like, okay. But Mekhi Phifer, he about that work. He just trying to make his money. He like, look, let's shut up about this. We gotta make our money. We gotta make our deals, right? So he is drinking chocolate milk, which I didn't know black people drink chocolate milk on a regular. Like, he was drinking that throughout this movie, and I was like, ew. It looked like it's hot outside. Like, that's not good. You do not need to be drinking chocolate milk. But anyway, that's not part of the movie. Anyway, Mekhi Phifer's like, look, we gotta make this money. So they get a white dude that comes through, and already I'm like, why does white dude look like he a cop? He look like a cop to me. Spoiler alert. He is, but they sell to this white dude. They got the little hand signals and like whistles and stuff. And then the cops pull up because, of course, my guy is a cop. He looked like one, but you know, you never know. Cops do drugs. Let's be real. So you never know. And then the cops come through. They search everybody and everything, and that's kind of the beginning of the movie. That's what you see in the beginning. So this old black dude rose up, and again, I'm not gonna remember. I think his name is Rodney. His name is Rodney. I do remember his name. He was the main like drug dude. He's the one who they get their stuff from. He's the one that's putting them out there selling drugs. And Mekhi Phifer's like, look, I'm sick of being out on these benches, be getting patted down on a regular basis by these cops. Like, I want to get out of here. And they go past this fast food restaurant where they see this guy who apparently is selling drugs out this restaurant. He's you know, and I've heard of that before, like, you know, people slinging out of the restaurant, you order a certain thing on the menu when you pick something up. Not like I would ever do. I've never done that. I know a lot, but I don't do nothing, okay? Just let you know before somebody starts trying to say something in the comments. I'm innocent. Anyway, so he was like, well, you got him here at this restaurant, you got me out here, you talking like I'm your son. He kept saying, the old guy was like, you're my son, you're like the person who's supposed to carry on my legacy. And he was talking about some dream where Jesus told him that he's gonna carry out his legacy. And I'm like, Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this, okay? Don't bring Jesus into this, sir. Don't do that. But he was like, all right, if you want to get out these streets, you want to get out these benches, you know, my guy at the restaurant, his name is Daryl. I do remember his name because they mentioned it a lot. Daryl, he's at this restaurant, he's selling from you. You can go take his spot because he's stealing money from me. So we got to get rid of him anyway. Insinuating, look, if you want his job, you need to get rid of him, okay? Because I already need that to be done. He's stealing my money, like, duh. So now we see Mekhi Phifer. He is on his way to a bar, right? And he meets up with who we found out is his brother, who's played by Isaiah Washington from Grey's Anatomy. That's where I know him from because I used to love that show for like the first 10 seasons of like 90. Anyway, but yeah, so I was like, oh, he in this. And so they meet up, they're talking, and Mekhi Phifer's telling his brother, whose name is Victor. I do remember his name. I remember everybody's name but his. That's sad. Because I kept thinking he was this Mekhi Phifer. But anyway, he tells his brother, yo, boy that work at that restaurant across the street, you know, he was messing with some little girl. He was trying to molest this little girl. You know, what if that was your daughter? What would you do? Somebody need to handle him and yada, yada, yada. And his brother, Victor, was like, hey, yo, I got somebody that can handle that for you if you want. And so I'm thinking, okay, is his brother going to set this up? Is he? I'm confused. Okay, cool. So that's a mystery. I was like, ooh, mysterious. So the next thing we see is Mekhi Phifer walking up to this restaurant, this fast food restaurant, and he's talking to the guy Daryl. He opens the door and he's an a-hole, for real. Like, he's kind of annoying. I get why people don't like him. And we see Mekhi Phifer shoot him. Kinda. And that's gonna like come up later on because, you know, we see him, he has this little newspaper and you assume it's a gun behind it, and he goes up and then you hear gunshots and then the cops show up. Bet. So the cops show up, they see him on the ground, they say some very inappropriate things in front of a dead body, like, you know, he's just a splatter on the ground. And I was like, wow, that he's dead. Like, he's sitting there, like, just dead. They show very graphically his bullet wounds, his in and out exit wounds, as if that was necessary for the storyline. Again, I had just woke up, I was drinking my coffee and was like, oh wow, I'm not hungry. No breakfast for me today. I'm good. So they are like, yeah, he used to work at Rodney's candy shop back in the day, so we know he's clocking, because, you know, everybody that come out of Rodney's candy shop, they selling drugs.
So, was he clocking?
I don't know.
Al, how you doing?
Hey, Joe.
Check the pocket. Yeah. Son of a that's Daryl Adams.
Who?
You know the guy. He used to work in Rodney's candy store last year. I saw him all the time.
If he worked for Rodney, he definitely was clocking.
Apparently Rodney is a well-known drug dealer in the town, but if you know anything about, like, you know, drug dealers in the town, they usually don't get caught up because they got people lying for him, they got people covering for him. So, but they know what he be doing at that candy shop. So they was like, yeah, he probably selling drugs. Somebody knocked him off, and that's probably what happened, right? So that is what we see so far. Also, Spike Lee makes a cameo in this movie, not once but twice, which I thought was very interesting, on some Stan Lee stuff. But okay, I think he does that often though, if I'm not mistaken. I've only seen like 3 Spike Lee movies. Don't crucify me in the comments for that. I know we're doing those too. We're doing more Spike Lee movies because I haven't seen most of them. But yeah, so that was what we see of Daryl's death, and that is the main part of this movie. For real. So he goes to see Rodney, right? Because he's selling drugs for Rodney, right? And this is when I realized that Rodney was a guy who at the candy shop that they were talking about, because when he goes there, it shows that it's his candy shop. So I figured that out. And so he also comes in contact with this guy who apparently has sexually transmitted disease that is incurable. I'm not going to say which one. And he says he gets it from drugs, and you need to stay away from these drugs, and yada yada yada. And I was like, why are he going on a long behind monologue? But okay, I guess that's necessary.
So I didn't know when I was recording this that the man who played this role was Thomas Jefferson Byrd, who just recently passed away this year. He was shot in Atlanta. I did not know that, so RIP to him. He played his role very well, and you know, he was a great actor, so I just wanted to add that part to this.
But he goes to see Rodney, and Rodney's like, yo, I need you to lie down, I need you to die down. You know, we don't want nobody suspecting anything about us, so maybe stay off the benches for a minute, because that's where they were selling drugs, off of benches, and, you know, lay low. So then we cut back to the benches, and he's apparently there, so I guess he didn't die down or lay low. I don't know. So we get there, and then we see Keith Davis' character, who's a cop, and he comes through, and he's like, yo, y'all know what happened to Daryl? Because apparently he knows them from the block as well. He used to hang out with them when they were younger. He became a cop. They became drug dealers. There's this little boy who's sitting there listening to them talking or whatever, and the little boy's mom, the cop is upset that the little boy's around him, like, get away from him, like, leave him alone. I don't want you being a part of his life. And so Mekhi Phifer talks to this little boy and goes and gets his hair cut for him, right? Take him to the barbershop, gives him this Game Boy type thing, and, you know, he's trying to take him under his wing, it looks like, right? So while he's out with this boy, we see Mekhi Phifer's character come in contact with Victor, his brother, and they start talking. He gets out the car, he starts talking to his brother, but we can't hear what he's saying, which again is important to this movie, because to be quite honest, I don't really know what happened in this movie, to be quite honest, but this is a very big part of the movie. We don't hear what he says to his brother, but we do see them kind of animating a conversation. And so he drives off with the little boy, and the little boy's mom is mad because he's hanging out with these drug dealers. Like, it's very obvious they're drug dealers, and she cursing everybody out. Okay, she is going off, as she should, because she does not want her son to be about that life. She's trying to keep him away from that. And so the next thing we see is Victor, Mekhi Phifer's brother. He's talking to the feds, and he says, I killed Daryl. And then I was like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Someone tell me he got his brother to take the rap for him, because that's kind of messed up. Okay? Messed up. But he confesses, he says it was self-defense. He was walking out of the bar that we see that he was in the beginning of the movie. And he comes out the bar and he says that he saw the guy Daryl come out. He scared him, and so he shot him in self-defense. But the cop is like, that don't make no sense, because my guy was shot 4 times. So if you're shooting him in self-defense, why would you shoot him 4 times? And he says he only shot him once. It don't add up. It don't. So the cop is like, I don't know if I like the way this story sounds. And so Victor, talking to the cop, he's like, look, you know, my jobs, I have 2 jobs, and I got kids, and I'm just so stressed out, and because I was so stressed out, I just, like, you know, I was on instinct, and I just shot him. And the white cop, of course, is like, your story don't add up, but since you gonna keep the story up, cool. And so we see the white cop go to Victor's family's house. He sees his wife, and he sees his mom, and his mom is like, look, Victor's not a liar. If Victor said he did it, then he did it. He has no reason to lie. And she shows him the picture of both of her sons. You know, she said, Victor, you know, he's a good, upstanding man. He has 2 kids. He's trying his best. You know, and my other son too. And she gave the cop both of their pictures. And so the cop looks at both of them, looks at Victor. You know, he has 2 jobs. He has a good life. He goes to church every Sunday. And then he looks up Mekhi Phifer's character. Apparently he got a record, and he used to work at Rodney's candy shop with Daryl. Interesting. Which one do you think did it? Like, it was like, it don't make no sense. Why the heck would Victor all of a sudden kill somebody out of nowhere as an upstanding citizen? And Mekhi Phifer, his brother, kind of having a rap for doing bad things, and he's also part of the drug game as well. That just makes a lot more sense.
Pop's the first guy who steps on his Nikes. It's like the capper on a bad day. He's how these Nubians do it. He gets religion, comes in, gives it up. Back it up. Come on, Larry. Can't you see what they're trying to pull? Larry. What? Yo walks in, says he's the shooter. With no record. 2 adorable kids, 2 jobs. Model citizen. Claims self-defense. Okay, all right. Who's gonna argue? Now this other one. Strike. If he tried to pull that bullshit, they'd throw the key away. He's an old scumbag. No wonder this confession sounds like horse lying. Victor never got off that bar stool. He always taken away for his brother. Or what?
And I was like, yeah, I would agree with that. And it was very interesting because there was another cop who was there who was like, look, why you care so much? We got somebody in jail for killing somebody. It ain't that big of a deal. We really don't care about the person who was killed anyway because he was a drug dealer, as we see. Like, just let it go. Like, why are you so worried about this man's life? And they say some very racist things, and I'm not going to say that part because, you know, that's unnecessary. But, you know, the other cop was like, look, like, he's just a... And even if he didn't do it, we got somebody in jail. We can just act like it's fine. Like, they're going to kill each other anyway, so whatever. And I'm like... Okay, I guess the moral of this story too is kind of like, you know, the same as many stories from black communities in which they're like, we're just killing each other and we need to stop killing each other because they don't care about us. We need to care about us. And I'm like, message received. I get that. There's a lot of 90s black movies are saying the same thing, pretty much. And I get it. And then the cop goes to see Mekhi Phifer. Mekhi Phifer has been continuously throughout this movie having stomach issues, which... Spoiler, they never really explain, which I guess maybe it's like a metaphor because every time he's having stomach issues, something bad happens. So maybe it's a metaphor. Y'all let me know if you've seen this movie, what you think, because they never really say what's wrong with him. So I think it's because he's drinking chocolate milk in the summertime, probably, because ew. Like, ew, why? You know what? That's not what this video is about. Again, I'm sorry. So we see the white cop go to the bar where him and his brother were at one point. The bartender was like, yeah, I saw Mekhi Phifer's character come in. He was jumpy. He seemed like, you know, he was, you know, uncomfortable. And I thought he was going to rob the place. So I was keeping a real close eye on him because he looked suspicious. But Victor, his brother, comes there every day. He gets his drink after work. He's always been a cool person. Like, they know him very well. He was sitting there for most of the night, you know, having a couple of drinks before he goes to see his family. And so, you know, the cop is like, again, this will add up. And what I did not mention is the bar is right across the street from the restaurant. I don't know if I mentioned that part. But the next thing we see after that is Mekhi Phifer goes to see the black, you know, Rodney. And he's like, look, you know, Rodney says, yo, I heard a homicide cop was talking to you. What's going on? And he was like, you know, I ain't saying nothing. I ain't say nothing. And Ronnie's like, all right, lay low. Don't talk too much because they're going to try to get you to confess to something or try to get you to say something about me. And I don't need that to happen because, you know, he's the big drug dealer guy. So he has to stay low profile. So the next thing we see is the cop comes to see him again. Right? So the white cop comes to see him again and he's like, yo, I know you sell drugs. And he was like, no, I don't sell drugs. I don't sell drugs. And he was like, no, I know you sell drugs. And I also know that you know Daryl. He was like, I don't know Daryl. I don't know Daryl. He was like, okay. And when's the last time you saw your brother? And he was like, oh, I haven't seen him in a while. He was like, how much? A month? 2 months? How long? He was like, yeah, 2 months. Okay. And the cop says, you know what? If you hear anything, he gave him his card. And they kept it moving. And so the drug addict guy, the guy who was having a long behind monologue, apparently works for Rodney, and he was giving him a package to sell. So the next thing we see is Mekhi Phifer goes to see his brother in jail, and his brother is like, hey, yo, they are messing me up in here, and I don't want to be here. I am not about that jail life. I need to get bailed out. Like, someone needs to get me out of here, as I would be if I ever been in prison, because I am not fit for prison. I'm not about that life either. I feel you. I feel you. And he was like, you know, we gonna do what we can to get you out of here, you know, just stay tight. And he was like, yeah, some of these people in here is about that life and I don't think I can do this. And I kept thinking, he really set his brother up. Like, I love my family, I'm gonna be quite honest, I do. But one thing I'm not doing is going to jail for them. Just not. If you're a family member and you're watching this, nah. That ain't it, chief. I'm doing it. Love you. I will get you a great lawyer. Okay, but no. No. Next thing we see, the cops are going to investigate into his job. They go to his first job, which is apparently working like a store that sells like Chinese memorabilia, I believe. And he's talking to his boss, and his boss is like, he's the best worker that I know. He comes in on time every day. One day he got shaken down by this guy who has legitimate anger problems. Like, guy, calm down. He was trying to come in and they wouldn't let him in, and he was kind of upset, like, oh, what you think, I'm gonna rob y'all, yada yada yada. And he said, you know, the guy, Victor was like, look, we just, you know, we don't need you to come in here. And he was like, oh, I'm gonna come back and kill you, I'm gonna come back and kill you. And we realized that they used Victor pretty much as the person to de-escalate hood problems at his job. And I was like, is it cause he black? It's cause he black. It's okay. It's okay though. And then Mekhi Phifer is still apparently hanging out with this little boy, and I'm like, his mama already told you she was gonna fight you about this, that. And so he's with this little boy, and apparently Mekhi Phifer is really into trains, which I realized Mekhi Phifer really ain't about that life either, to be quite honest, because he does some real corny behind stuff. He drinks chocolate milk in the summertime. Like, who does that? He also is very big into trains. Okay. And he used to be really close friends apparently with the cop, who's the black guy, you know, the black cop who's telling him to leave the little boy alone, which means that they probably were cool because they had similarities. And he just decided to sell drugs, because one thing he does tell this little boy while he's at his house is that he needs to sell drugs. That's the only way you can make money. And I was like, sir, that's not true. Why are you telling this little boy that? Also, why you have him around these drugs? And also, why you got him around a gun? Because he pulled a gun out. And I was like, yeah, role models definitely need to choose them wisely. Don't have your kids have role models that have guns and drugs in their house. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have kids, so I can't tell you what to do, but that's probably a bad idea. And so the next thing we see is Mekhi Phifer goes to see Rodney again, and Rodney's like, I heard a cop came to see you again, like, what's going on? And he was like, you know, nothing's going on. And then he tells him this long story about, Rodney tells him this long story about how he killed somebody before. The first time he killed somebody. And he was telling him about how his boss made him kill someone for him, because if he didn't do that, then he wouldn't have any leverage on him in order to keep him from snitching on him. Essentially saying, Rodney made you kill this guy, not because he gave a crap about you, but so that you would not snitch on him, because now he has that on you. Yeah, great son. He said it's like his son. I don't want that kind of, I don't think that's a great father-son relationship. And I personally, if somebody told me that, I'd be like, well, damn, you set me up then. Like, just so, okay. And again, we see Mekhi Phifer coughing. He's coughing up blood. He's getting real sick, real bad. And so the cop comes back and sees him while he's sitting there coughing up blood, and he passes out. Now, this is when I thought that they would tell us why the hell he'd been coughing this whole time, but they don't. I was curious. I was like, so is he like have like a pancreatic problem or something? Like, why is he coughing up blood? And like I said, that's what I think is a metaphor, because each time he gets into like a real crazy situation, he starts coughing and like getting sick in the stomach. And so I think that has to do with the fact that he just ain't about that life, because every time something go crazy, he start coughing and something's going on with him. So the next thing we know, the cops go to see Victor's other job, right? Because that's how he had two jobs. Victor's other job, they said that, you know, he was always an upstanding citizen, like he never did anything bad. One day these guys came in, said that they wanted to sell drugs at their place, and you know, he told them, nah, like, I ain't about that life. I don't want that to come through here, and we're not going to allow you to do that. And that night that happened, Victor left his job early because he said he wasn't feeling too good. Now, mind you, my guy has two jobs, okay? And also, on top of that, he keeps getting intimidated by these drug dealers in the neighborhood. Like, I feel like I be tired too. And so, at this time when all this is going on, the homicide detective shows up again and is like, hey, yo, you want to talk to me? Like, are you going to talk to me? Because I know you're lying. I'm very much aware that you're lying. You want to talk to me about what's going on for real, or you want to keep making this stuff up? And this lady is sitting there yelling at him, and the black cop comes up again, and he's like, all right, let me go with you. So he rides with him to the precinct, and the cop is going on his long tangent about, you know, your brother's a good guy. Why would you set your brother up? Why would you even do that to your brother? Like, he's a good person. He's been doing this, and he's not a bad guy. Why would you set him up? And he was saying some real stuff, and then he said the N-word, and I was like, ooh. Yeah, I was riding with you until you said that. I was. And then while he's at the precinct with this cop, he's standing outside, Rodney pulls up. And Rodney's getting a little paranoid because he's like, this is like the 4th time you met with this cop. I really hope you may sign a snitch on me, my guy, because just so you know, I know what you do. If you try to snitch on me, you got a problem. And I was like, I figured this was going to happen because he was getting too questioning about everything. So I know he was getting kind of paranoid. And so this is when we get kind of to the climax of the movie, right? So the little boy comes back around Mekhi Phifer telling him he needs to give him something. And Mekhi Phifer was like, no, leave me alone. I ain't trying to have no problems with your mama because I'm good. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me no more. Okay. The next thing that happens is the cops show up to Rodney's candy store, apparently having an arrest warrant for him, and takes him to jail. And they tell him that Mekhi Phifer is the reason why he's there. To kind of essentially make in his head to think that he has been snitched on him this whole time. And now he got something out for him. Right? So Mekhi Phifer goes to Victor's wife, gives her money to bail him out of jail, and then goes back to the block to talk to the guys that's out there, and they say, yo, Rodney got locked up. And they were like, how did he get locked up? Like, I don't know what happened. They're like, oh, it's probably you. And they were saying that, you know, that cop been coming around a lot talking to you, like, have you snitched? He was like, no, I ain't snitched. And they like, well, he know you snitched, and he's trying to get somebody out here to find you. And for some reason, my guy, instead of being like, oh crap, he gonna try to kill me, stays in the neighborhood, goes and talks to his mom. We don't really know what he says to his mom either. All we know is he leaves back out. The guy that Rodney called to put a hit on him shows up to the projects. And I'm like, oh crap, he about to die. Because I figured he was going to die in this movie. To be quite honest, that was what I thought the ending was going to be. And so the guy comes up and he's like stretching and doing all this weird stuff. And I was like, the hell is he doing? But the guy comes and he is ready to shoot him. And the little boy rolls up on his bike and shoots him with a gun. I didn't see that coming. No, I absolutely did not see that coming. And the little boy is being interrogated with the black cop who's like, yo, how the hell did this happen? And the cop that has been going back and forth from Mekhi Phifer, the white guy, is like, look, tell us what happened. He said he found the gun at Mekhi Phifer's house, that he was just trying to help because he thought something was going to happen to him. And, you know, he didn't really know what he was doing. Which, yeah, I'm assuming he looked like he cannot be more than 10 years old. I'm assuming he did not know what would happen to him. So the black cop is like, he was mad. He beats the crap out of Mekhi Phifer. And essentially is like, yo, leave these people alone. Get the hell out of here. Because, like, you're doing too much. Either, like, just get out of here. And so the, like, kind of the climax of this movie is Mekhi Phifer's like, all right, black cop wants to kill me because, of course, after he got that little boy in trouble, Rodney is still gonna probably try to kill him because, you know, he's getting out of jail now. And, you know, after this, I'm gonna go to the precinct and I'm going to talk to these cops. And so he goes to the cops, and I'm thinking he's gonna confess. Like, he's gonna confess that he's the one who did it. And he's like, no, the drug addict guy did it. I think it's him. Maybe it was him. It's somebody else. It's not my brother. But he's still not confessing that he's the one who did it. And I'm like, my guy, you're really gonna hold on to this lie? Really? Like, that's how much you just don't want to go to jail. For real. And then the twist of the century happens because Mekhi Phifer's mom shows up with Victor's wife and is like, leave my son alone because Victor did it. And I was like, okay, what? What? And she was like, yeah, he called me at the bar crying, saying somebody's gotta pay, I'm tired, I'm sick of this stuff. And so he apparently goes and shoots the guy, I guess because of Mekhi Phifer's story about how he was doing this stuff to kids, and I guess that prompted him to want to kill him. I still don't know what the motive was.
Mom, I think I'm gonna do something bad. Oh, I can feel it. Look, I'm just tired, that's all. I'm just sick and tired. And somebody's gotta pay. Somebody's gotta pay.
He came back into the house like an hour later. Victor! Mama, let me tell you, it was like just like a dream. It was like somebody else was pulling the trigger. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened. Mommy.
She was like, he said it's self-defense, so it's self-defense. And so they left Mekhi Phifer alone. Now, the reason why this is so confusing, it kind of makes sense now, is because I mentioned that he stayed around the block to talk to his mom. Now, I don't know if he told his mom to lie or if this really happened. So that's why I'm like, who the hell killed this man? Like, who killed him? Because I'm confused. But they leave him alone and they take, Mekhi Phifer leaves out the precinct. And while they were in the precinct, we saw Rodney beating the crap out of his car. Like, essentially be like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, put some spray paint on his car, you're dead. Which, yeah, I mean, he thinks that he snitched on him, so that makes sense. Now, the ending of this movie, Mekhi Phifer, the cop takes Mekhi Phifer to Penn Station. He drives him there and he's like, how long is the kid gonna go to jail? And he said, I think he said like a year and a half in juvie, essentially, which sounds pretty easy to me, given the fact that he killed somebody. I don't know how likely that is, but okay. And then at the end, we see Victor leaving jail. And I'm like, now, I've never done criminal law, but I've studied criminal law. I'm not mistaken. You can't claim self-defense if you shoot somebody like multiple times. Especially if they're not coming at you with the gun. And get off. Like he would have done some time. Right? Because it doesn't make sense that he out of jail. It don't. But that's the end of the movie. We see Mekhi Phifer driving off. And we see the little boy in the house of his mama. And he has a train set that Mekhi Phifer was going to give to him. And yeah, that's the movie. This movie was long as hell. And a lot of these scenes could have been cut and kind of like made the movie a little bit shorter. Like I feel like it was super long. Oh, and the second cameo for Spike Lee was at the end where somebody else gets shot. They kept saying in the movie that they're just like a splatter on the ground or like I forgot the exact quote, but I'll put the quote in the movie, in the video.
Another stain on the sidewalk, huh?
But yeah, I mean, I liked it. I thought it had a great premise. It was kind of a whodunit thing, and I really think they should have played more into that, to be quite honest, than like some of the other stuff that they played into, like the whole Rodney thing. Well, I guess that made sense too. Or the little boy part where he kills somebody. Like, why was that necessary? Maybe I'm thinking too into it. Like, I guess maybe to show like the next generation of people. Like, there's definitely some scenes in this movie that could have been cut out because it was 2 hours and a half long, and I was just like, this movie did not need to be this long. It kind of dragged on because of that. And I didn't make a rating in my last one, but this one I give probably a 7.5. Like I said, it was really long and drawn out. I do like kind of the mystery of who killed this guy and what was going on, and that was the part that kind of kept me intrigued. And yeah, so that's my review of Clockers. This video is probably gonna be long as hell because I tried to explain the whole movie and like go through each scene. And again, this movie is long as hell. So if you made it to the end, thank you so much. With that being said, I will see y'all tomorrow. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, put them in the comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. I made videos this week. It was a very long, hard week. Again, like I said, I'm traveling, so I'm trying to bulk record all these videos for y'all, because I'm trying to give y'all what y'all want, you know what I'm saying? So like, subscribe, please. And with that being said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.